At Mediaocean, we process about $200 billion in advertising on an annualized basis, so we see a lot through our system. But as Workday said, don't call us rock stars. And when it comes to the Super Bowl, there's just nothing like it. 30 seconds of airtime cost upwards of $7 million. And that's against the backdrop of a tough economy, brands cutting back their ad budgets, and yet Fox sold out the big game at record prices. So it tells you how big a deal it is, quite literally. There's just nowhere else you can get 100 million viewers all watching the same thing at the same time. And they're there to watch the ads as much as they are to watch the game. So let's break down the action. For me, the commercials this year all fell into 4 categories, and conveniently they all start with the letter N. So the first is nostalgia. The Farmer's Dog was the winner of the USA Today ad meter, which is ranked by fans, and it showed a girl promising to take care of her dog forever, and then you see them growing older, and she's always feeding this premium dog food. It's really touching, and emotion is one of the most powerful response mechanisms in advertising. But nothing quite as powerful as direct response, which leads to another end, which I'm calling new and novel. So last year, we saw QR codes burst onto the scene with Coinbase literally crashing its site as so many people rushed to snap the little code that was bouncing around the screen like old school Pong. And this year, we had Limit Break trying to up the ante using a QR code to drive to the founder's Twitter account, where you had to follow the account to get a chance to win NFTs. At least I think that's what the deal was. Personally, it didn't work for me. I snapped the code. I got a Twitter error message. So once again, we had a Super Bowl QR code fail. And clearly the lesson here is that on a big stage like the Super Bowl, you have to be absolutely sure you can accommodate your call to action. One that did work was Planners, where you could snap a QR code and watch the full roast of Mr. Peanut by Jeff Ross and others in a Comedy Central style throwback. So again, a bit of nostalgia there too. Let's actually go back to that first one for a second. So nostalgia. Ton of ads this year, rebooting old shows, bringing back characters from classic movies. There was T-Mobile with John Travolta and the guys from Scrubs doing a rendition of Summer Nights from Grease. Then there was my personal favorite ad of the entire game, Popcorners. Breaking Bad with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul and character cooking in the RV, and then Walter White pulls out the Heisenberg hat, say their name. Just, really great for brand recognition. And then, of course, the end, the tagline, break into something good. It had the full periodic table element treatment. So just all around really well executed. A few other examples of nostalgia. Michelob Ultra had Caddyshack. Pepsi Zero with Ben Stiller doing Zoolander and other roles. GM had Will Ferrell doing famous scenes from Netflix shows like Squid Games, and he's kind of driving around in an EV. And then, of course, the granddaddy of nostalgia, Disney. For Disney 100, they kind of took you through a journey of all the characters and movies over the years, and then at the end, the line to the audience, you made this dream come true. It was really well executed. And then you have a spin on nostalgia. So our third end is notoriety. And so this is where you see brands start to embrace maybe some edgier angles. So a great example is Doritos, which had Jack Harlow quit rapping to play the triangle, only to get one up by Sir Elton John for the Grammy Award. And the whole thing was an homage to the shape of the chip and the line, try another angle. You had Downey do a teaser leading up to the game with a surprise star who turned out to be Danny McBride, a.k.a. Downey McBride. Uber One had a great one with Diddy. Diddy don't do jingles. Kind of makes me wish Notorious B.I.G. was still with us. Paramount Plus had Sylvester Stallone climbing and falling off a mountain with his face on it. The line, A Mountain of Entertainment. And then perhaps the most notorious character, literally of all time, Jesus had 2 ads, not appearing in his likeness, but a message about how he gets us. And one of the ads showed, scenes of conflict from throughout U.S. history and talked about loving your enemies. So that one definitely sparked a lot of conversation. And then along those lines, our final end, nationalism. So a lot of ads played off a sense of American pride, and WeatherTech, I think, was the leading example there. It started with a bunch of bankers saying, oh, you can't build a factory in America and find the workers to do those jobs. And sure enough, they did. And if I'm not mistaken, WeatherTech's actually the longest running consecutive Super Bowl advertiser at 10 plus years. So there are your 4 ends, or maybe 5. So nationalism, notoriety, new and novel, nostalgia. And then one final call out on the new and novel front. A lot of people buzzing about the Tubi ad, which makes it seem like someone was using the remote to change the channel to Tubi. And it was a very clever way to get people's attention and stand out in a game that is nothing if not full of memorable moments, but perhaps none more so than when you think someone has pulled the plug and is changing the channel on you. So with that, it's time to pull the plug on this recap. Thanks for joining me. And tune in next year when we are all replaced by AI to create, watch, and rate the Super Bowl ads. Just like Adam Driver found the singularity for Squarespace with a website to make websites, it seems like we're on the verge of the chatbots talking and advertising to themselves. Speaking of AI, here is a QR code to download a report from Gartner that Mediaocean licensed on how to use generative AI like ChatGPT in media, marketing, and other industries. Fingers crossed that it works as intended. If you end up on Twitter or something else, just click your heels 3 times and swim over to Mediaocean. And now let's cut over to a marketing team meeting at Mediaocean where everyone is gathered around the water cooler to chat about the ads, just like we used to do when we were all in offices. Oh, hey, folks. How's it going? Anyone catch a game last night? Yeah, pretty good, right? Chiefs fans, Eagle fans. All right, we got a mixed crowd. Well, hopefully we can all agree that the commercials were awesome. What were some of your favorites? Kirsten, what was yours?
Mine was definitely not the end of the game. I'm an Eagles fan, just by proximity. But my favorite ad for sure was the farmer's dog. Super sappy. I love a good sappy ad, and I only caught the last 5 seconds the first go round, but I could feel it. I went back and watched it again, and it's definitely the winner for me.
Yes, you and all of USA Today topping the ad meter. Yeah, that was a good one. Josie, how about you?
My favorite was the Popcorners Breaking Bad one. It was great to see Jesse and Walt back at it. I missed that show a lot. It's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, that was mine too. I love the just the whole throwback and full character and all the little Easter eggs. That was awesome. Morgan, what was yours?
My favorite was the Tubi one because I think it was the most memorable, and I feel like everyone has their own story from last night when that happened. Like for me, my friend was like, we were at her house and she's like, Eric, I told you the house was haunted. There's ghosts in here. And I was like, it's an ad. It was really funny.
We definitely had like a little scramble, like, oh my gosh, who's got the remote? What's going on? And then the little like beeps and everything too. It was like, yeah, that was so perfect. Brandon, what was your jam?
I'm a sucker for Steve Martin, so I enjoyed the Pepsi Zero commercial, and also just a cool concept of like, was that acting or is it actually good? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Pepsi Zero.
Yeah. And of course, the call to action, you got to try for yourself, right?
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, it was well done. Arshan, do you have a favorite?
I like the more fun, like out of place, quasi random. So my favorite was Harlow's triangle, from rapping to triangle playing. And it felt like it correlated to the brand as well. I feel like a lot of the random ones, it's like at the end it's a beer commercial and you have no idea where that came from. But I could see Jack Harlow on the triangle.
Yeah, rocking it. Wasn't there also another version of the ad? I don't know if it ran during the game or maybe it was just in the socials leading up to it where they were talking about him being like in a love triangle, and it was just another play on the triangle theme. So I thought that was well played too. Subhan, how about you?
This might not be a surprise, but I really loved the Bush Light commercial, especially the one with Sarah McLachlan. You know that both are nostalgic brands and nostalgic person. I thought as soon as that music came on, I was gonna tear up. And then when they shifted it from it being from a dog to a wolf, I mean, me and my whole friends were just laughing. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love a good misdirection. That's
Yeah.
hallmark of a good Super Bowl ad. Jade, what's your pick?
I didn't watch the Super Bowl. Usually I just watch for the ads, but I didn't get to yesterday. However, I will be watching them today on the internet.
That is the beauty of the ads. The shelf life is extended beyond the game. And that's a good reminder to all the brands out there that while there are tons of people watching the game, it doesn't reach everyone, certainly not live. So you have to have an omni-channel strategy to make sure you reach your audience. Rob, what's your pick?
I like the one where the NFL ad where Aaron Andrews was interviewing the flag football player, and she just took off and she couldn't pull her flags, and then she just deacon everybody, even her own mom. That was my my favorite ad.
Yeah, that one was cool for sure. It was NFL, right? Themselves.
Yeah.
Rachel, I wonder on your side of the pond, were you tuned in after midnight to watch our big game?
I did not, but I went back and had a look at a lot of top 10 lists and watched back some of the ads. So I know some of them.
Okay. Did you have a favorite?
I really liked the General Motors and Netflix one. I thought it was well written, funny. I also quite liked the partnership, not an obvious one at first, but I think it worked. And I also understood the reference points with that one, so that helped.
Yeah. I love the end, zombie, it's like, thanks for biting me. That was funny. All right. Well, enjoyed catching up with all of you at the water cooler. It's just like old times when this is what we would have done the day after the big game. So cheers, everybody. See you next year.